A 50-year career spanning 8 generations. In 1968, the C-Series Audi 100 entered the full-size segment. Its successor, the A6, made a splash in 1994 and is still Audi's most successful model.
I have to say that Mr. Varkas has always been my personal mentor. I learned pretty much everything about design, like proportions and themes, from him. Hartmut Varkas was the head of design at Audi for 25 years. That's why he is and remains a role model for several generations of designers. I still have contact with Hartmut Varkas. I invite him over regularly. I'm always glad to see him and keen to know what he thinks.
Ich freue mich immer über sein Feedback.
And I'm Mark Lichter, Audi Head of Design. Today I'm delighted to be showing Hartmut Varkas the new Audi A6, and I'm really looking forward to his feedback.
Head of Design Mark Lichter meets the old master for a generational comparison among connoisseurs.
Herr Varkas.
Mr. Varkas, welcome to the new Audi Design Center.
Hello, Mr. Lichter. I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far.
Herr Varkas.
Here we have 50 years of Audi, the first Audi 100 and the very latest 8th generation Audi A6.
Audi A6.
You could say the grandfather and the grandchild.
And the crazy thing is, you can see the parallels between them.
Launched in 1968, Volkswagen CEO Heinrich Nordhoff called it a beautiful car, and I can only agree.
A pleasant shape, a spacious body. With over 820,000 units sold, the Audi 100 was the cornerstone of the brand's rise.
Mit dem Audi 100 hat sich
With the Audi 100, Auto Union has entered a category that is extremely competitive. Despite its taut damping, the car effortlessly handles every bump. Excellent deceleration, safe operation, stability, and a clear, clean, and clever body line that is not subject to the whims of fashion.
der Mode unterwirft.
War anders als der Wettbewerb.
It was different from the competition. It was simpler, clearer, and cleaner. And what we've done here, again, unlike the competition, is combine this elegance and beauty with a powerful, muscular body by moving the shoulder line, which was still above the wheels on the first Audi 100, down to between the wheels, so we can generate some really decent muscle with the back wheel and the front wheel.
Schön Muskel generieren konnten auf dem Hinterrad und auf dem Vorderrad.
That makes Quattro truly visible, and it sets us apart from the competition.
Auch, würde ich sagen, von dem Wettbewerb.
Mr. Lichter, here's the old car with its old upright front and round pressed glass headlights.
Neuer Audi.
And the new Audi with its single frame. With the 8th generation, we have moved from the vertical proportion to the horizontal. In other words, it is much wider than it is high.
Deutlich breiter, als er hoch ist. Und damit
This underlines the sporty character of the new Audi A6. An appealing, sporty and elegant cab. Again, typically Audi with its very attractive window design and narrow pillar. But the best thing about the car, just like its ancestor there, is its great proportions. The 8th generation has very short overhangs. We can see it has even bigger wheels, a bigger track width, a nice long hood.
Und schließlich
And finally, the Audi 100 offers enough space for 4 people to sit very comfortably, even on long journeys, while 5 people would still be an easy fit.
It seems to have become a very large, wide car.
naja, er ist natürlich.
Of course, it is wider than the first generation, but this impression of width is emphasized by the very slim tail lights and a chrome strip that begins in the lights and extends along the whole side. That stretches the car so it looks wider from behind than it really is.
Eigentlich sieht es breiter aus, als in weit ist.
So I see.
im Übrigen
The car is otherwise clean and practical. Plenty of storage for a start. And they've come up with an excellent heating and ventilation system.
Lüftungssystem ersonnen, die Tachometers
But the speedometer scale is far too complicated.
gedacht, als man so
What were they thinking when they added all of those lines that just make the speedometer harder to read? Less would have been more.
weniger wäre mehr gewesen.
Ja, wenn ich mir das so
When I
anschaue,
look at this, I have to say that things have changed over the decades.
einiges getan.
True, decades have passed, but for its time, this was an extremely clear design for an interior.
Das haben wir so ein bisschen
This is precisely the simplicity we have reinterpreted. Let me show you what I mean with the new Audi A6.
gemacht haben bei dem neuen Audi A6.
I'd like to see that.
Das Besondere ist,
What makes it special is we have integrated the displays more or less invisibly in a piano finish look. We call it black panel design. When the displays are off, you don't see a thing. That's what gives it this really clean lounge character.
und was auch besonders ist,
Inspired by the old Audi 100 A6 generations, another special touch is that the air vents at the top are horizontal and very straight lined. Very simple, so they generate width. But then the screens are driver oriented, so as to highlight the sportiness of the car.
streichen.
Mr. Lichter, as Mr. Spark would say, fascinating.
Es gilt als
So we have to compliment the technicians in Ingolstadt for the pleasing results of their hard work.
geschaffen haben.
I have to say the clarity of design displayed by the Audi 100 has been realized in this new car in a wonderfully progressive form. This is the avant-garde I always had in mind, a distinctly sporty car.
Mr. Valkus, thank you very much. I was taught by the best after all.
Danke sehr.
1968 to 2018, the history of the A6 and the 100 stories behind it. Peter von Horsetzky knows them all.
The vision of being the best European on the global market, whether in terms of drag coefficient, performance, or consumption.
1968, Audi enters the full-size segment. The journalists are impressed. The Audi 100 is a winner, first as a sedan, then as a coupe.
It was lighter than the competition, so it was quicker than other cars with the same engine power. Front-wheel drive gave it better traction in all weather conditions. In other words, it was more of an all-year-round vehicle than if it had had a standard drive.
In 1976, the C2 is released with a new body. The inline five-cylinder gasoline engine with 136 metric horsepower attracts particular attention. In 1982, the third-generation Audi 100 sets a world record for aerodynamics with a drag coefficient of 0.30. 3 years later, the first fully galvanized body is presented.
As well as being long-lasting, this meant its value depreciated less quickly, which is even more important for the owner.
Another milestone, the first permanent Quattro all-wheel drive in an upper mid-range car.
The Quattro was added to the Audi 100 in 1984. You can't put a price on the kind of boost that gave to the car's image in terms of sportiness, agility, and reliability.
5 years later, the C3 introduces the TDI engine with diesel direct injection and turbocharger to the series.
A huge milestone, especially as far as fuel efficiency and ride smoothness were concerned.
In 1994, the fourth generation of the Audi 100 is renamed the A6, but the premium pioneering aspirations remain the same. In 1999, the C5 becomes the first Audi vehicle with a Multitronic stepless automatic transmission. Automotor and Sport magazine crowns the next A6 the best car in its class. The Geneva International Motor Show calls it Europe's #1 car. It gives Audi the best-selling upper mid-range car for the first time, ahead of Mercedes and BMW. The C7 is based on the new modular longitudinal matrix platform. The use of aluminum attachments and high and ultra-high strength steel means the weight is reduced further by up to 70 kilograms.
Since we always had the lighter car, its performance was better, and we always had the edge as regards fuel consumption.
With the 8th generation of the A6, Audi is introducing yet more innovations to the segment. Sportiness, digitalization, and comfort for state-of-the-art mobility. The elegantly drawn Audi A6 is the multi-talent in the full-size class. 50 years of the C-Series, a legacy to uphold.